me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
Hockey is the greatest sport in the world, and try to argue me, and I will friggin' go you right there, and I can't even fight. Welcome to episode 560 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Holy shit. I don't know what else to say. We just witnessed some of the most memorable Game 7s I'll ever see in my life, and we are here because of Pink Whitney. Shout out Pink Whitney. Oh, yes, Keith. Just drink it all right now. It's 12:25 Eastern on Monday, May 5th. Happy birthday, Callan Whitney, and let's get into it, boys. Shout out Pink Whitney. Shout out the big bottles, the little bottles, the medium bottles, and everyone who's ever had a drink of Pink Whitney. We love you, and we thank you, and thank you to what Pink Whitney does for this show. Guys, I
don't even know what to say.
Guys, let's lead off with this. In the history of the NHL, there had been 3 times a team was down 2 goals in the third period in Game 7 and came back to tie it up. It just happened on back-to-back nights. What the fuck? And there were a couple people when I tweeted, that's the craziest first round I've ever seen. What do you mean, dude? It's like, and then I had defenders like, no, man, give me another year that you can talk about the storylines,
every
the
game,
comebacks, every
fucking game
series
was nuts. What are you talking about? It'd be one game on crack, and then the next game would start. There'd be a goal 9 seconds in. This game going to double overtime. This game having lead changes. Like, it's been fucking insane. If we could guarantee that we get the second round the same as the first, I'd fight 12 Irish Travelers. I'd fight fucking 20. I'd fight a fucking gorilla one-on-one. Fuck the other 99 guys. I'd fight a fucking gorilla one-on-one.
You kind of are one with your long
Harambe.
arms and your big hands. Like, it's a fair fight.
Boys, I mean, I guess we're going to have to start with Colorado, Dallas. And, I mean, Mikko fucking Rantanen and what he went through the last 2 months, getting traded against his will, just blindsided by that, not fitting well in Carolina, going to Dallas, and then doing what he did in those last 2 games. I mean, really, games 5 through 7.
11 points, Biz. 11 points in those
11
games.
points. And the argument that his point production was mainly because of playing with a guy like Nathan MacKinnon, which we realized that playing with him, the game is a little bit easier.
It helps.
He fucking showed everybody as to why he's a playoff beast, why he deserved $12 million a year, if not 14 after that performance. And the Colorado Avalanche and their brass must be sitting there on the plane ride home,
Dude,
being
that's
like,
what I was thinking. Chris McFarland.
wow.
What just happened?
What the fuck just happened to us?
Well, the funny part is that they get him out of the West. All right, go to Carolina, buddy. When they saw that news break, that he went to not only back to the West, to Dallas. They were already locked in to play him. It's like, oh, fuck. And then what happened? The absolute worst case possible. The worst case Ontario, as you say, Biz, went down in the final 20 minutes of Game 7 in Dallas. It's just, Keith, can you imagine the guys on the plane and Chris McFarland sitting there like, wait, he wanted to stay?
He would have, hey, mind you, he was never offered 12, take it or leave it. The fact that a conversation with what I consider the big 3, him, MacKinnon, Makar, like those are 3 foundational pieces that if they would have stayed together, I would have said for sure multiple cups. Because Rantanen, especially when the hockey gets hard, especially when it gets physical and the games are won and lost around the blue paint and below the goal line, on the boards, those are the guys that end up coming through. And the fact that they could part ways with them, like, you know what? We're going to find the next best thing. We're going to get ahead of this thing. He doesn't look that fast this year. I think he's maybe lost half a step. Oh, yeah? Who the fuck was lugging the mail through the neutral zone in Game 7? Looked like he was the fittest guy on the ice on that zone rush. And that sound, when he scored that first goal, that sweeping and that ping going bar down, that is hockey porn at its finest, Yans. Remarkable Game 7, remarkable Game 6. Only player in NHL history to have back-to-back 4-point games.
Both of them in one period.
In one period, yeah.
Sheer dominance. Sheer fucking dominance.
I honestly, like, when you see him after the game, like, I want to be in that locker room so bad going into the third period. And, like, I remember a video of Ray Bourque the year that they won it. He was like, hey, give me the puck. I got one tonight. Like, a lot of guys say that, but I wonder if, like, Mikko was just like, hey, guys, it's my time now. Like, this is my old team. They fucking gave up on me. It's my time to shine right now. Jump on the big boys back, and we're going to take these boys down.
People are going to try to take away from the one that went off Gerard, but did you see when he went to the pile to give the guys the head and knuckles, when he celebrated that first goal that he scored, he had that fucking look in his eyes where when he left that pile, I was like, oh, Jesus, like this guy's going to go full playoff mode right now and beast mode. And he did just that. Like,
and
even that
Hintz was in his face too. Hintz was like him, and they were like in each other's face. You could tell they were going to pop off, and they sure did. Busy.
Booze we're going to drink. We have a couple of days off. We're finished. Also, the second goal, the Gerard one, he didn't even go that nuts. It was almost like, no, it's only tied. Like, Biz, you texted the group right after the first one. You go, you see his face there? He looks like possessed. Then the second one, it wasn't a crazy celebration. He just stood up.
He was locked in.
Hey, let's go.
He was
we're winning regulation. And you got to feel for Nathan MacKinnon, who a very raw, honest interview after the game. He said, they didn't have their best defenseman or their best forward, and we didn't beat them. What do we do now? Or something similar to that, where it's like, he has to be like, fuck me, man. This was my guy. This was my ace. My guy on the right, or we went together. We raised Lord Stanley together, and he didn't even really have an option of sticking it out here once the true story came out.
Didn't even get consulted. And didn't even get consulted about it. I think that's absolutely fucking banana lands. He said, his quote was, "This is the most devastating loss of my career." And if you guys look right now, I believe that Nate's played 5 Game 7s. He's never won a Game 7. I think Cale Makar's been a part of 4 of those. I don't think he has a point and is -3 or 4 in those games. So
I'm waiting to hear about a Makar injury, solely because, like, when you see somebody that's that dominant and that amazing at what they do, and then they're just off in the playoffs. It wasn't the same Cale Makar. And there were moments of what we've come to know, like him be out in the ice, but it wasn't the overall dominance that we've saw when he won the Conn Smythe this season throughout the regular season. It was just, I'm wondering if he was battling something. Maybe he wasn't. But I can't get over that Pete DeBoer is 9-0 in Game 7.
It's fucking nuts.
That's like the odds of that happening. Game 7s, they're tight games. It's the inches here and there. It's the Al Pacino quote any given Sunday. And this guy's 9-0. And at the same time, Bednar's never won either. I believe he's 0-4 now. But the hardest part for the Avs and MacKinnon is that was a Western Conference final in the first round. And it's the way that this playoff format goes. I've now come over to the side where I don't dislike it and I don't see a need for change. Not including 1 versus 16 ever being an option. But you get these first round matchups, and a team gets screwed and goes home that could have won it all. But you have memorable, like, series that you'll never forget. I will never forget that Game 7 and tonight's Winnipeg St. Louis. I'll never forget either one of them.
No, it was remarkable. But then again, like, it just goes to show you how important home ice advantage is. Like, you saw it with Dallas. By the way, that crowd has to be top 3 to 5 loudest crowds in the National Hockey League. Like, when they get fucking barking, that is a very, very intimidating place to play. And they don't even have Glassbanger in the lineup. They did have Tits McGee for Game 7, which we knew that was going to be a victory.
Well, you announced that. Like, what was how did you hear? I'm guessing maybe a couple DMs between the wonderful woman and yourself, or was it just news flying around your world?
No, we actually know this hockey player. I'll keep the name off the podcast, but his brother is dating her. And I caught wind early on, and I believe that she does some work on the internet as far as maybe OnlyFans. And I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, not trying to like insult anyone here. Like, make your money how you can, right?
I think her profile on Twitter might show that or give that away.
Exactly.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure she's sending out pictures of her beaver, but she had the guns out blazing in Game 7. It took a while for them to get going. It took till that third period to get it done. But hey, they came alive and they were busting out in the third period. But yeah, I mean, going back to Pete DeBoer, boys, like there's a stat here, became the first player or coach in NHL history to be part of 9 Game 7 victories. He is 9-0 in Game 7s, a record accumulated with 4 different teams since 2012. So, I mean, I just feel that he's an extremely calm, demeanored coach where if the game's high or low, you're never really seeing him on the bench elevated or reacting to it. So it seems like he's always prepared. He always knows what to do in every situation, and probably one of those coaches that most people would agree, like just like Paul Maurice, I would be shocked if he doesn't eventually win a Stanley Cup just based on his pedigree, how long he's been involved in the game, how many times he's been to the finals and come up short as well. So just a phenomenal coach. He's got Elaine Nazardine there, Spotter, and the rest of that incredible coaching staff. Another guy, as far as the clutch genes considered, for such a young player, Wyatt Johnston, it was his third Game 7 of his career. He scored in every single one of those Game 7s, and none bigger than that one on that pass
behind the
across.
net.
That was a snipe. That was he made that look way easier than that shot was. Now, what did you guys think of the discussion Blackwood having to have his stick in that lane because it was so close to him? Now, I was kind of arguing that if you turn your stick over as a goalie to block it, like the chance of it hitting it and going in your 5-hole is, I guess, relatively high. But when it's that close to your pads and your crease, is that not on him a little bit of getting the stick down?
I think when it's left to right, it's easier for the goalies, but when it's coming, from his left to his right, so right to left, it's a little harder
his
to kind
right
of turn
to left. You can put it down flat a little easier.
And it doesn't open up at the 5-hole as much, which was your original point. And I think that most goalie coaches would agree, like, hey, in that situation, don't stick it out. It felt like it was a few inches away, and I feel like the really good goaltenders who are able to read plays would have poked that and disrupted that pass. Talking to other coaches via text and or on the panel, no offense, or not to throw bones under the bus, but I think that he said that was more of a defensive error. Like that backside winger has to take the backdoor guy, and that net front defenseman has to prevent that pass from going across. So more on this. People were also bitching about the penalty call. Like, boys, he tackled him.
I was at the start, and if it was in the neutral zone, I would be still. Dude, Sagan's gonna get that puck. You're in the offensive zone. That's a penalty. And I felt really bad for Jack Drury. We were on the stream, and we did a live stream. It was great. Thank you for anyone who watched for Game 7. And it kind of took away from how, like, I didn't realize what happened because we're talking and we're interviewing. Bob Duzz was on for that. I don't even think he was watching the game. And I went downstairs to watch the highlights. I was like, oh my God, like that just happened. But we were kind of doing the content thing in the middle of it. But that was a penalty, man. That was a penalty. I think they got that one right. And Biz, quickly, you brought up Wyatt Johnston. Most goals before the age of 22 in Stanley Cup playoffs history. Sidney Crosby had 24. Jaromir Jagr had 19. Patrick Kane had 19. Wyatt Johnston's at 17. And this thing could just be getting going for them. I was just on Pardon My Take before we started, and Big Cat had me list my teams, my 1 through 8 on who's left. Right away, I said Dallas. I switched it to Florida just because of them being the champs. Dallas right now, guys, the fact that those two are coming back and Robertson and Heiskanen and they beat the Avs, it's like this might be their year. And I know we're just seeing them win this legendary Game 7, but that team is so deep. They're built to win in the playoffs. And Ottinger is cool, dude. He's calm in net. He's the same guy. I don't think he gets too rattled. I don't think he gets too fired up on a big save. He's ready to get the job done, possibly.
I think remember at the end of the year, Biz, even you were talking about it, like they were giving up a ton of shots. They didn't play great towards the end of the year going into playoffs, but you never heard him bitch and complain about it. He wasn't, pissed off at his team, giving up too many shots. Cause some goalies can get, poopy pants about that where they're, hey, what are you guys doing to me? We've all played with a goalie or two like that. So I love his demeanor, especially that series, like the ebbs and flows of any series are huge, but it didn't seem to affect him in any way. Whether they lost the game, he was the same guy. Whether they won a game, same guy. So him and I think him and Bob right now are the two guys I would trust the most. And I wouldn't want to be facing him if I'm the Winnipeg Jets.
Shout out to the Stars players, like elevating their play in front of him after he let in that second one. I would say that he wanted that McKinnon one back. It was a bit of a squeaker on the blocker side, but after that, shutting the door and giving his team an opportunity to come back, full marks to Ottinger. I think there was obviously some question marks coming into the playoffs. He's the type of goalie that, he's always talked about in the top 5, top 10 in the league. And, when the chips are on the table, he has proven it in the past, maybe not in the later rounds, but this could be this could be his year, just like this team. And we're talking about, and credit to I'm going to go through the list here, like Tyler Seguin coming back from injury. I didn't know what to expect and what he would bring. I thought he was tremendous in the fact that, he didn't have many reps coming into the postseason. I think he played maybe 1 or 2 games before the end of the season to try to get his feet wet. Really, the whole team was leaking oil. Like, this is a team, they backed into playoffs. They might have lost their last 7-8 games, and they were unrecognizable. Matt Duchene, we talk about Rantanen's revenge. Like, he gets revenge on his old club where he was there early.
He'd been quiet in that
series. He'd been quiet,
early.
But I thought the last couple games he looked a lot better. We mentioned Wyatt Johnson, but just that whole decor to a man, especially Harley, and the fact that they lose Heiskanen, where you're leaning on him come playoff time to play that 28, 30 minutes. Like, he's the Pionk, right? He's that guy he's the Morrissey. He's that guy for that team where they rely on him in every situation, including power play. And in those crunch moments to execute on the power play and get the job done and beat a wagon of the Colorado Avalanche, like, that team from top to bottom deserves full marks for the way they played and competed. And every time you thought that Colorado was going to run away with it, whether it was after Game 4 when they throttled them, all of a sudden Landeskog comes back, they get that lift. It's like, oh man, this has got to be the Avs year, right? They got the mojo going, they got their captain back, they got that feel good feeling. And fuck, even after Game 6, boys, like, just the way they gave that up in the third period, but to go back home, get the W, and now give your guys a little bit more time in order to get Heiskanen and Robertson back. I agree with you, Whit. It feels like they're the team to beat right now in the Western Conference. And they deserve it. They deserve all the credit in the world.
No one happier than the Dallas Stars to see this be a Wednesday start. And I know it's already Sunday, and it makes total sense. They have to travel to Winnipeg. But, yeah, it's just an extra day or two possibly where maybe we don't see those guys Game 1, but it sounds like we will see them in the second round. Back to the Avs quick. The Avalanche have now lost 7 Game 7s in a row. And I believe the last one must be Ray Bourque's Cup win. That might be their last win in a Game 7.
Wow.
Kind of incredible that maybe since then they haven't won one, but they are the only NHL, NBA, or Major League Baseball team to lose 7 consecutive Game 7s, according to OptaStats. So I trust OptaStats. No clue what the hell OptaStats is, but bring it to me, Opta. I feel bad for those guys. I do. Like, they had Cup aspirations. They overhauled their entire team. They had Charlie Coyle as a third-line center, Jack Drury as a fourth-line center.
Gabe coming back.
They had Gabe coming back. They had Netchis at 2/3 the price of Rantanen, and that front office thought that he could do the same thing at way less money, and it all came apart in one period on the road in Game 7.
Some people, including Avalanche fans, would argue like, "Hey, we didn't have the depth in order to compete. If we kept Rantanen, we would have been too top heavy, and then we wouldn't have stood a chance against Dallas anyway."
Possibly true.
People are going to debate that. I think that overall the organization and the overhaul from the start of the year, like 2 new goalies, a couple D-men, up front, their second, third, and fourth line center compared to the start of the year were all different. You got Nichushkin back, Landy, you guys mentioned it, and Natchez. Like, that is such an overhaul on the fly, and they do deserve credit for that. I just look back to thinking you're getting ahead of things with moving Rantanen, and the story is that he came back to bite you in the ass, and he did. He went no spit, no lube, sandpaper finish, and you're on the plane with your head in your hands being like, what the fuck just happened to us? So that's pretty much all I got on Colorado. An iconic comeback an unbelievable game, and very excited to see this Dallas Stars and Winnipeg matchup where both teams 2-goal comebacks in Game 7.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that game right now, Game 6 and 7, and kind of break down our different thoughts on that. But before we do, we have two guests tonight. We have Gary Lawless, who covers the Vegas Golden Knights and has some Winnipeg ties in his life, I believe. And then we're gonna have Stauffer on later. So a big breakdown of Vegas and Oilers from those two guys covering both those teams. But Gary's very, very invested in watching these Winnipeg games closely. So why don't we bring him in right now and we can break down Winnipeg St. Louis. There he is.
There he is. Couple of clicks for Gary.
I've
You
never
must
met
be
Yans
fucking
before.
buzzing.
So
How we doing, Gary?
this is Gary. How you doing, Keith?
Great to meet you.
Great to have you on, Gary. What's going on? I think I'm just going to kind of take it. We'll get to all of us and our thoughts, but breaking it down, they go back to St. Louis. Winnipeg has a chance to get it done, and oh my God, the playoff ghosts that Connor Hellebuck is seeing, they reappeared, and he gets pulled for the third straight game. Not even on the bench after he gets pulled. Everyone's kind of like, what is happening to this guy? Like, this is the yips in golf. This is like something that's unexplainable. Is it mental? Is it positioning? Like, nobody knows, and everyone has different opinions. And somehow, some way, man, he pulls through in Game 7. And it happens with him sitting on the bench the last 2 minutes. They're down 2 goals. And Keith sends the text, is Winnipeg better without a goalie? Like, what is going on here? Just shocking. 1.6 seconds left. Oh, my God. It was just incredible to see that go down. But I'll say this before any of you guys take this over. Hellebuck looked awesome in the 2 overtimes. And there weren't a ton of chances. And Winnipeg took over after the second period. At one point, since the second period began, they were out shooting St. Louis 37-16. But is this now what Hellebuck needed to just put everything aside? And dude, we got through the first round and I wasn't even good, and thank God, and now we go. That's the question. Biz, Gary, Keith, I don't know who wants to take it.
I'm going to throw it over to Gary and also congratulate you. Not only your Golden Knights winning, but your former team, the Winnipeg Jets. So 2 for 2 going off to the second round. At least they don't have to meet each other quite yet, but I mean, talk about the Hellebuck performance and everything else Winnipeg related.
I lived there 18 years, worked there, and my wife is born in Winnipeg and my daughter is born in Winnipeg. So we watched the game here tonight, and like they jumped off the couch, they're screaming. I'm like a little more muted. Like it's, I'm happy for my friends that live in Winnipeg. I'm not really happy for the Jets per se. Although, I work for both. That's where the paycheck comes from.
Buddy, he's part of the most cutthroat organization in pro sports. You think he's rooting for anyone else?
He wasn't even watching the game.
No, I was watching. It was, and I actually, Paul Edmonds, the radio guy there, I don't know if he's a good buddy of mine. We covered minor league baseball together and drove all the way up I-29 for 8 years together. His call tonight is fantastic. It's on Twitter. You got to find it and listen to it. I watched Game 6 and I texted, you used the word unexplainable, Whit. I texted someone inexplicable. Like, it's just, how does this guy he's going to win his 3rd Vezina. How do you win 3 Vezinas and then not be able to stop it in the playoffs? And I actually, I kind of felt bad for him. I'm glad he was able to kind of resurrect it in overtime. Let me ask you this though, Whit. If you're Bill Guerin, is he your guy next year? Like, if you watch this unfold,
I think Otter's got his name in the hat. I think you have to, like, to me, if he had lost this series, it would have been career defining is a little strong because he's still young. He still is gonna play for who knows what happens after this, but it would have been an awful moment for him. So they get through, and maybe he has found his moment. Scott O'Neill, it's fascinating. He played for the Jets. The Jets, John Ferguson Sr. traded him to Buffalo, and they didn't speak for the longest time. And the night they tore down Winnipeg Arena, the last night they had a big affair there. And Randy Carlyle, who was like a son to Fergie and was the head coach
in Winnipeg for the Moose when Scott Arniel got his start. They're like, he brought them together, and they had this moment where, Fergie said sorry, Scotty said sorry. They had this moment. He gets that job in Columbus, gets sewered there, and then I don't know if if he didn't get a chance in Winnipeg, he might not have ever gotten another chance. And he was with the Rangers, he was with Washington. He paid his dues and then gets this moment. So pretty good for him. I thought he did I thought he handled the post game after games.
Yeah, he did
really well.
That's a hard situation.
But he was spinning right away, took the heat off Hellebuck right away, said we imploded. And they did. The slot.
They were horrible in Game 6. I was shocked. Exactly. And they were horrible at the beginning. They had 3 shots at the beginning of Game 7.
Man, like Bone said, he's like, hey, Jets hockey, especially in the neutral zone, it's force them to the line, force them to dump, smother them. Easier breakouts, obviously. They were melting down. They weren't even keeping their F3 above their centerman who was entering the zone. And the board side guy who was supposed to close them off at the red line, in both situations in the first 70 seconds, he slipped by Connor on that wing, and then he got by Velarde on the other, and then Connor's that F3 who's supposed to be in support. He gets drifting over, gets outside, another breakdown, and then he doesn't even back check to pick up Kyrou.
Yeah.
You broke it down pretty well on TV, which I'm surprised,
Yeah,
since you
once in a while.
15 days in a row. He just texted me. I've worked 15 days in a row. You know what I do? I broadcast 82 regular season games.
I love
Plus,
that.
I went to 4 nations, and now I'm going 15 days in a row.
We're gonna get your cookie in the mail.
Who works harder off right now, Keith? Just who works harder off?
Yeah, we're having a dick measuring contest here.
While you guys sit in your Four Seasons hotel.
Hey, guys.
Let's go back to hockey, yeah.
Yeah, and back to the game, though. Something clicked, and I would love, that's a moment you just wish you could see what happened in the locker room after the first intermission. Who knows if it was a player, who knows if it was Scott Arniel, just there had to be somewhat of a snapping in there. What the fuck, boys? Game 6, we give that effort. The first period at home with this whiteout, that's what we give. And they came out, and from the second period on, game changer. An enormous loss. I think Morrissey played 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where that leaves him for the second round. But Neil Pionk.
Oh.
What a fucking player. He gets the assist on the game winner through the first overtime. He played 40 of 80 minutes. And that guy, that trade with the Rangers for Jacob Trouba, they get him re-signed right before playoffs. What incredible player. No Scheifele, they end up turning it around. Gutted for the Blues. I mean, you talk about Colorado being up 2-0 in the third period. They're up 2-0 with 2 minutes left. I mean, they're up 3-1 with 2 minutes left.
Boys.
Oh my God.
But has Neil Pionk worked 15 days in a row? That's all I want to know.
You're a fucking asshole.
The Leaf Florida action is already going. Hey,
this guy criticizes the way I breathe. He's all over me. So keep your head up here. Hey, he'll chuck you.
I'm born in 1968, just on the outskirts of Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Never saw the Leafs win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, we don't need to. Hey, we're not diving into the Leafs just yet.
I hate the Leafs so much. I'm a Canadiens fan.
Yes,
I grew up a Canadiens fan because
Yes.
they disgusted me so much throughout the 70s and the 80s.
Going back to the Trouba trade though, and Pionk and pumping this team's tires though, not only the trades they've made, the drafting, a guy like Cole Perfetti stepping up tonight in the absence of Scheifele on that power play, that tip. That is as surgical as it gets. I thought that was Sidney Crosby in Perfetti's jersey. The first one.
I thought it beat him 6-hole. Sorry, Gary. I thought it, and then they see the replay, oh my God, he went bar down with that tip. And a great play by Connor to pass it that hard. I mean, that is a complete set play. And they connected again. They connected again on the tying goal. It was just, go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
They can't blow it on their draft picks, right? When they draft, that they have to develop that guy. He's got to hit because they're not. Yep. When Jack Eichel becomes available, and every team in the NHL could have traded for Jack Eichel, they're not getting that guy. Vegas is Florida, New York, Chicago. They're winning. Well, maybe not Chicago right now, but those big franchises are winning those guys. Cheveldayoff has the toughest job in the NHL. It's the smallest market, the smallest rink, and there's no other way to say it. American guys don't want to play in Canada. They don't want to play in Winnipeg. So they've got to hit on guys like Perfetti, and I give them credit for developing the way they did. And a huge night for him with Scheifele on the I thought after they lost in St. Louis, I'm like, they got to go back home. And
I thought they were done.
When I heard Scheifele had skated in a tracksuit, I'm like, well, maybe there's a glimmer of hope for them, because I didn't think they could win without Scheifele. And if you hadn't told me they were going to lose Morrissey, like that's their best forward and their best defenseman.
Just what Dallas did.
Yeah, well, but Dallas is deeper, right? Like they're
doubt.
You know, they added Rantanen at the trade deadline. Like, think about that. It's kind of amazing.
Still remarkable that those two teams lose their best forward and their best defenseman and are able to pull it out, especially in Game 7. A few other tire pumps too. Like Nikolai Ehlers was hurt, came back in Game 6. He's had a tough playoff career. Like, not gonna lie, he's only got 4 goals in now 39 playoff games. Had 14 points coming into tonight in those 38 that he'd played. Tonight was the 39th. He needed to make a big play. On that tying goal, he ends up like double clutching the first one. He gets it back.
He whiffed, bro.
Double clutching, whiffed, whatever you want to call it. I think St. Louis thought that he broke his stick, and maybe that's why they got so aggressive coming out to him on the next time. And he makes that beautiful pass over to Lowry, who ends up connecting with Perfetti. So
was it Connor? I thought it was Connor.
Or Kyle Connor, excuse me.
Most guys would have shot that, though,
I think Connor was shooting that and whiffed too.
Yeah,
Watch the replay. Sure. It's crazy
because they know how much time's left, right? They're counting down the clock in their head. Most guys would have shot that puck that Ehlers shot. He made an unbelievable play over to Connor, and I think it's a little bit of puck luck, but they got it, and they got it a lot at home. But Biz, me and you, you called me the other night, and we were talking about Perfetti, and I was like, I remember this kid in World Juniors. I always thought he was going to pop off and be a stud, and you were like, he's young, he's a smaller guy, he's going to have to kind of grow into his game a little bit, and this game right here could be the thing that really elevates his game and brings him to the next level. Do you agree with that, Lawless?
I think he's made huge strides for them, and that he was a guy that, just like Scheifele, like they brought him slow. They sent Scheifele back to junior twice. Perfetti, same situation. They didn't rush him. They don't want to burn years either. Like they need to have control of a player as long as they can. That's just the reality there. He started to go inside a little bit. He had a little bit of perimeteritis, I think, earlier on. But his hands are obviously like completely legit. You saw that on both of those. So just to your point, Whit, on who was like Adam Lowry's one of the best captains in the NHL. He is
tough as nails.
He fought Reeves in Vegas one night, and they're not this. Lowry's a heavyweight, but he doesn't fight. Not the same kind of experience as Reeves. And the Jets went that bench. He lifted their bench up with that. He does stuff like that all the time. Big community guy. I'm pretty happy for him. That's.
Did you guys see the post game? Like him and Bones had an awesome interaction, and then they rolled a video from when Bones was coach there when he finally got back to getting behind the bench after his wife had recovered from her illness. And just it just seems like they've established such an amazing culture there. And I know Bones retired and handed it off to Arneal, but it's obviously continued, and his impact still is paying dividends in that locker room. And G just hit us with a stat here too. Adam Lowry. Some people were questioning on whether he got a piece of it. I think that it ended up hitting his pant leg.
I didn't see any part of it hitting him, but
it changed direction.
It changed direction when it got
hit a
around
St.
him.
Louis player, didn't it?
I know, but it changed it again when it got to Lowry. That's
okay.
why I said it might have hit his pant. Like, I don't think he's the type of guy to go full Ryan Smith and give her the pumpernickel if he didn't touch it. Adam Lowry joined Steve Yzerman. This was in 1996 in the conference. I don't know, CSF, whatever the fuck that
conference means. Semifinal.
Confuse me more, G.
15 days.
As the second captain in NHL history to score an overtime goal in Game 7. So pretty cool stat there from G. Other than the fact that you put me in a mental pretzel. Just an awesome game. Connor, we kind of discussed him too. He was fucking tremendous in the second half of that game. He was kind of nowhere to be found in the first part, but
Well,
I mean,
Biz,
what else can you say?
He wasn't even nowhere to be found. He lost the puck there right inside the offensive blue line, and Joseph goes down, and that was the goal. And I'm wondering your opinion, Biz. I'll start with you.
I thought he was coming out.
I was like, I think they have to pull him. I thought, and credit to Arneal, man. I was like, it's 7 minutes into the game. It's 2-0.
Agreed. I would have pulled him. I mean, I'm the worst guy to ask about the goalie situation. I would have had fucking Comrie in game 5.
He's your Hart Trophy candidate.
Yeah.
So you can't pull him, you're saying.
You got to live by the sword.
I couldn't believe they pulled him in game 6. Like in game 6, I would have, after the second and third, I would have said to him, you're going back out and you're going to work through this, figure out what's going on, because we need you. You're our guy. You're winning the third Vezina. You're a Hart candidate. You got to. We're not winning without you.
Well, that's why I'm sitting in a fucking podcast chair and I'm not the head coach of a National Hockey League team, because, like I said, I would have had Comrie in, and also I love his like post game interviews and stuff. That's probably more of the reason why I would have picked him. But you got to have some jam at that point not to yank him and stick with your guy. There was rumblings that came out of the 2 times he was pulled in St. Louis where he went down the tunnel and like he went and showered and got his like street clothes on and didn't sit out by the bench. I thought that was a little bit weird. Like, I would personally want, like, regardless of how he feels about how him getting lit up and getting pulled, like, come and support your teammates and be there to support them by the bench. Maybe he wanted to avoid getting heckled, because sometimes that hallway in St. Louis where you sit as a goalie, the fans do have access to bark at you and maybe get inside your head. Maybe that's the reason. But did you guys hear that? And did you guys find that to be weird that he didn't come back out and sit with his teammates on the bench?
Yes. And what if Comrie gets injured?
Yeah, I think there's no way he got undressed. Like, someone would have been like, hey, you can't, because if Comrie gets hurt.
I think that there was like I got texts about the fact that he went and got showered up and changed like that. Like, this might be a rumor that I've gotten from I got it from a few reputable sources. I'm also like, I'm not trying to I just thought it was different. And he's had the same approach apparently where he didn't even come back to the bench. Maybe he was still in his gear in the locker room. I just felt that coming back out to the bench to support your teammates was a little bit of a weird thing not to do in that moment. But
he actually was like, get the guy from Chez Paris. You can have him come in for that Montreal used, because he looked awesome. He was a great e-bug. Yeah, Biz, it's I also think so they make it 2-1 and I'm like, oh, the Jets got life. Here we go. The Faxa goal, he was like way over to the right, and it was a great shot. But it wasn't barred down where the crossbar meets the post either. It was beneath that, which NHL standards, there's a big difference between putting it bar down there and just getting it in the top shelf. But he's over to the right and it beats him. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I thought that was it. I said, that's it. I said, the way St. Louis can shut things down and Binnington in big games, I think that's it. And St. Louis, they didn't play bad. It's like they ran out of gas. Like Kyrou in overtime, even Bush on the broadcast is like, he's lost a couple one-on-one battles here. They just look tired.
They could win their 50-50 battles. And like, I felt that they definitely ran out of gas because they were sitting way back more than normal in this series. Even though they were rolling 4 lines great, like that 4th line for St. Louis was a difference maker in the series. At the point they scored that Faxa goal, they'd outscored them 6-1, the 4th line. So like, as far as an offensive impact, as far as like flesh wounds, like Faxa was the one who basically took out Scheifele. And just the way that Torpchenko and Walker, they were relentless and just getting in on the forecheck of the bodies. But you talked about the way that they close out games. Like, they had a hard time 6-on-5 the whole year. That was one of their Achilles heels. And you saw them allow 2 goals. The first one that made it 3-2, like, I was shocked because Schenner gets it like by the goal line in the defensive zone. And we're taught, especially when you're on your backhand and you don't know because you got your back to the play and you're scrambling and most of your guys are tired, you can't just throw that up the wall on your backhand. You just eat the puck along the wall. You grind away clock. You allow your guys to also get into a better position considering you were scrambling right before that. And then it happened right before their 3rd goal as well, up the wall.
Why did Buchnevich ice that?
That was a
time.
Hey,
that
Gary,
was a brutal play.
I said, oh my God, skate, like move your
He
feet. No one's near you.
He had time and space.
And then they clip, the camera goes over to Monty, and he's kind of like, oh, I
What
think he
the
said
fuck?
fucking skate. He's like, fucking skate, just like, oh, dude, you didn't have to ice that. He could have buried the game there.
But not even that. There was already an F1 in the neutral zone. If he would have just punted it to the other side of the ice, you create the 50-50 battle. If you got guys who need to change, you can do so. So it wasn't even an issue of skating. He had 75% of the rink to just put it into an area, let your guy go be the F1, and then create a neutral zone forecheck where they're going to have to regroup, dump it in, and then hopefully get a retrieval. And there was just so many things in the last 3.5 minutes that went wrong for the St. Louis Blues, whether it was running out of gas and steam. And it sucks, man, because it takes away from such a gutsy effort they had throughout the series, throughout the end of the season, the 12-game winning streak. Robert Thomas being the highest scorer from Four Nations on, even though he had to miss that. Like, there were so many positives for this St. Louis Blues team. Fowler setting the point record by a defenseman for a series in playoffs with 10. Like, it must suck. And just like the Colorado Avalanche, they're sitting there on the plane ride home being like, we had this game in the palm
Even
of our
more
hands.
so, I think.
More so. More so.
I know.
More so.
The Fowler pickup, he was been in Anaheim. I thought he was washed. It reminds me of the deal that Vegas made for Alec Martinez. His numbers in LA had become so bad. Like, you just looked at him and you're like, what's going on? And then one of our pro scouts said to me, don't judge a defenseman on a bad team, because there's lots of things going there. This is a guy, Martinez and Fowler, in their situations, playing a ton of minutes, playing the hard minutes, not getting any help. Martinez comes to Vegas, reborn, was fantastic the whole time he was there, wins a cup. And I thought Fowler was arguably the most impactful player in the lineup for the Blues. He was tremendous.
And before we move on, and Gary, you mentioned how much time you spent in Winnipeg. Like, those Winnipeg fans and that city, like, they needed a win like this. Like, that would have been so devastating to not only them, but the organization for all the big moves they've made, trusting in their players, and really guys that, like, you could tell that they love being there. And, you mentioned it earlier, Gary, it's not easy for them to get free agents and lure guys in, but the culture and the team that they've created with guys that actually want to be there and go to bat and fight for that city, it's pretty special. And Gary, I'll throw it over to you if you have any more comments on that, and just a very, very big gutsy effort to get themselves to the second round.
Well, you guys have all stayed at the Fairmont there, and you know what Portage and Main is. Some of your listeners might not. It's the main intersection in Winnipeg, and some loser politician 40 years ago decided to close it off so that you can't walk the sidewalks. You can't walk through Portage and Main, but whenever something big happens, they shut it down. So, like, the night that the story broke that the Jets were coming back, all these people went to Portage and Main, parked their cars there, got out of their cars. They're doing that there tonight.
That's amazing.
Portage and Main is shut down. There's a video of the premier. That's like, it's like the governor of the province of Manitoba and the mayor of Winnipeg. They came out of the game tonight and they did a video after, and they told everybody in Winnipeg, you can all be late for work tomorrow. We're officially making it. So for those people, hey, it's a cool fan base. The whiteout,
even though it's my jizz towel, let's go whiteout, baby. One more round. Put one in my belly button for the city of Winnipeg. Let's go, baby. Whiteout time. Yeehaw!
Just what you wanted to hear before bed, eh, Gary?
I'm not associated with this.
Yes. Neither are we.
No, you're disassociating after I just pumped Winnipeg's tires like that. Now we got to get your prediction. You're going to be the first one to go before we move on to the Oilers Vegas series, which you're here to really cover. Boys, who do you got? Winnipeg, Dallas. I'm going to start with you, Gary.
I got Dallas. I think that we don't know when Scheifele's going to be back. We don't know what's going on with Morrissey. Robertson and Heiskanen are reportedly very close. I think Dallas wins that series.
How many games?
6.
I agree with Gary. Probably not the smartest bet for him, seeing he's going to be sleeping in the guest room because his wife's from there. But I agree with that, and a lot of it to do with I think Winnipeg. You know, that series was so hard on them. The most hits in the playoffs so far. They were beating each other up. I don't think Dallas is physical with the Avalanche. So I think that they're going to come in a little more wounded, and I'm going to say Dallas in 6 as well.
I don't mean to disrespect Winnipeg. I really, really don't, because it's an amazing story. I think Dallas could sweep them. I think it's going to be 5, but I without Scheifele, and maybe he's back, and Morrissey, I mean, for him not to come back that game, you got to think he's out at least game 1. Maybe he gets shot up and he's good to go. But what Dallas just did to Colorado, and now Rantanen, God, his confidence has got to be through the roof. Unless Hellebuck had the demons fly out of the city of Winnipeg, and he turns into Hellebuck of the regular season, I think Dallas makes quick work of him.
I kind of go with Yand's theory. I feel like they took out, like, there was a lot of flesh wounds there from that series with St. Louis. Like, they ran the shit out of him. Obviously took out Scheifele. I think it's going to be a big task if he's not back ready to go for game 1 for Nemestikov to hop out and play that first line role. It also bumps up Adam Lowry, who did an excellent job tonight, but then he has to be second line center, and it really fucks up the feng shui of that lineup and what makes them truly special and Winnipeg Jets hockey. I do think Connor Hellebuck is going to come alive in this series. I think we're going to see a completely different guy. He's going against his American counterpart in that Four Nations for that Four Nations team. I think this is going to go 7.
Wow.
And I think that Dallas is going to take it, and just simply because they're so fucking deep, they're getting those guys back. It seems like Ottinger's going to raise his play to a different level because he wants to shut up the haters just as much as Hellebuck. And I just really think that back end for Winnipeg is not only beat up right now, but it's a little bit thin, and they got exposed that series from St. Louis. So I love Winnipeg. I'm so happy for you guys. Incredible gutsy effort. But I'm going to have to go with Dallas in 7.
I hope they knock the crap out of one another. I hope it does go 7.
Yeah, me too.
Leading into the next segment, you know.
No, why don't you take it away for us, Gary? We got a big one.
Tell me why you can beat me. Tell me why you can beat me. Explain why you will beat me.
Better goalie, better D. I won't say better coach, but a coach that's done it. More depth. Like,
okay,
it's the Connor and Leon show. It can win a game. I'm not sure it can win a series.
I'm gonna question you on the depth. I mean, I thought Howden had a good series, but I felt like
you scored 23 this year, eh?
No, I ain't fucking talking about the regular season. I'm talking about how you guys got your ass chewed up by the bottom 6 from Minnesota. Minnesota's bottom 6, including that 4th line, was better than Vegas's 4th line. Like, they dominated you guys in that series. Trennan was running you guys through the fucking wall. Aiden Hill couldn't even make a fucking...
Howden scored 3 goals and had 2 game winners.
I just said outside of Howden. I thought that Howden had a great series toward the end of it. So, and then I'm going to go back to Whit's team. I felt like the depth for Edmonton raised their level of play in the last 3 games of that series. Connor Brown looked excellent. Janmark, I thought that Arvidsson stepped it up. Like, so from the depth perspective, I'm going to push back on you a little bit. I agree with the defense. I agree with the goaltending. And then you got the two-headed monster up front. And for the first part of that series against Minnesota, we didn't see the Jack Eichel that we're used to seeing. And the top guys weren't getting it done. Stone and Eichel came alive in the last few games. Do you agree or disagree?
100%. Jack missed some games at the end of the year. He was hurt. He was injured. And whatever was bothering him, I think it carried over into the first couple of games. And then in the middle of the series, like game 4, he started to feel like Jack Eichel. And, he brings a lot out of Stone. That top line that Vegas has going right now, that's a Team Canada line. 2 elite centers playing on the same line. Like when Team Canada picks its team, they don't care if you play wing or center with your club team. They want the best players. So that means you have McKinnon and Crosby on one line. You put two centers together, and that's what they've done now with Eichel and Karlsson. And I think it'll be interesting to see what Knobloch does. If he says, okay, I'm gonna run McDavid and Draisaitl together, and if they match up power on power, Eichel and Karlsson are two of the best two-way centers in the NHL, and Mark Stone is the smartest forward in the NHL. That'll be like that's must-see TV. And I think this series is going 7 games. I think all those things that I said, I think it's like this, we're talking about margins here. That's a little disrespectful to Adin Hill. Adin Hill's won a Stanley Cup, and he has been selected to play for Team Canada in a best-on-best event. Calvin Pickard, I know Cal, great guy, great story, but is he on the same level as Adin Hill? I don't think you can say that, but that's why they're going to play it. It's going to be there's a bunch of storylines that are going to be fun to watch. These two teams own the Pacific. 2 years ago, Vegas won the West. Last year, Edmonton won the West, and now these two teams is going back to the conference final. They are worthy opponents. They respect one another, but they will hate one another. Evander Kane is going to do something.
Oh, him and Petro, guaranteed.
Exactly.
They're going
you know what I mean? Like Alex Pietrangelo, that slash on Draisaitl 2 years ago changed the series. And it was surgical. He got him, like, if he wanted to, I wrote a book about that season. And in the book, he told me, if I had wanted to break his arm, I could have broke his arm.
Well, yeah, anyone could say that. I want to break your neck. I'll hit you from behind. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Like that. That was a one game. He got 1 game for that. One game. Yeah, 1 game. I'll still never get over it. He didn't get 2 games. Oh,
slashed him on the elbow pad.
Hey, since we're talking about Petro, I feel like we also didn't see his best in that first round. I felt like him and Hannafin were on the ice for a lot of goals against, partly due to some puck luck in certain situations, but also getting beat. Like I remember the Foligno goal where he lost coverage. So like those guys,
them up, They took them. They split them up in about halfway through game 3. So their pairings were McNabb and Theodore, and we should mention McNabb in game 6. McNabb draws the double minor, gets clubbed in the face. Draws the double minor. Vegas scores on the power play. He breaks the puck out to Stone when Stone makes that area pass to Eichel to make it 2-1. And then McNabb pinches, grabs the puck, throws into the slot. Stone bats it out of the air. And then when they held Minnesota to 1 shot in the final 2 minutes and 28 seconds, and McNabb's on the ice for the whole thing. He's an underrated player. And the absence of Ekholm for Edmonton is a massive storyline in this series because Vegas will, like, I'm blown away. We're talking about the Oilers and we're not talking about the Kings. Like the Kings lost that series as much as Edmonton won it. They the challenge, Bruce Cassidy had 2 goalie interference challenges to look at in the last series, and they came after Hiller's challenge. There's been a chill put on head coaches in the NHL after watching what that did to the Kings. And then, Byfield not getting that puck out in game 5. It's
colossal.
Colossal
meltdown.
Jim Hiller is I get to vote for coach of the year. I voted for Scott Arniel. He's number 1 on my ballot. Carberry was number 2, and Jim Hiller was number 3. I was on your show in the preseason. I said LA was going to miss the playoffs. I'm not Murls. I don't call the Kings a fraud.
Thank
you.
But
I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. And it blows me away that Jim Hiller got them in. And then there were a lot of questionable decisions in that series.
Would you take him off your list after what you saw in the playoffs the first round?
No, it's for the regular season.
I know, but
he did a great job in the regular season. Marty St. Louis. Give me a break.
I outside of the two-headed monster, what scares you the most about the Edmonton Oilers playing the Vegas Golden Knights?
Destiny.
Well, I write these essays that like these video essays. I write them throughout the playoffs, and I'm writing my essay for round 2 that we're going to publish on Tuesday morning. And it's the City of Champions. Like, I grew up in Canada. I'm a young guy in the 80s when Warren Moon is quarterback for the Eskimos and they win 5 Grey Cups in a row, and Gretzky and Coffey and Messier and Fuhr are like, they changed hockey. This was like, we went from a game that was like, all of a sudden there was speed and finesse, style. It was completely different than everything like. Paul Coffey is so underrated. The fact that he doesn't, like, he's right up against the Mount Rushmore of the greatest players ever. And we don't talk about him like that. And I don't understand that.
Well, he's our D coach now. So that's a guy that's just, he's behind the bench for us. And he's bringing back the memories.
He should be in the fucking lineup the way that they played in that last series, for fuck's sakes, Whit.
Game 5 and 6. All I'm saying is we are the underdogs, no doubt. And everything you said, we are.
No team with Connor McDavid is an underdog.
Look at the Vegas
You
lines.
just told us why. They got better goaltending, better defense, better depth. Like, what else don't they have?
Better coach. Narrative.
No. Hey,
it's a powerful platform.
If you asked 10,000 hockey fans out there, I think a significant amount of them are picking Vegas in this series. And I think your reasons are very valuable, or not valuable, but legit in why they're the favorites. But I just saw the way Evander Kane came on. I saw Hyman, all of a sudden, he's running people over at the blue line. He's forechecking like a madman. I saw Trent Frederick's game come on, and I saw Edmonton in Game 5 and 6. I said it on this show already, look like last year. And last year, no one had him against Dallas either. So I need to see the first 2 games. Like, they need a split. It can't be the same situation leaving Vegas as it was leaving LA. But I just think the destiny aspect of Connor McDavid, and maybe it's next year, maybe it's 3 years, but at some point he's getting one. And if they beat Vegas this year, I think it might be the time that it happens.
I need one little more tidbit as far as like what you think about this series, Gary. And also, what was the reasoning to bring Karlsson up to that top line? Like, had that happened during the regular season? Because like you said, that made such a big impact in that round against Minnesota. Do you see them also doing that in this series?
Well, so in the practices that we've seen since that series, that line has remained together. Cassidy's a genius. He really is. He's not afraid to change things. It was interesting. After Game 3, after they lost Game 3 in Minnesota, I said to him, have you thought about changing your lines? And he said, well, if you change your lines, sometimes the players think you're panicking. And I can't have the guys perceive panic. So I'm going to talk to them today, and I'm going to tell them that I'm not panicking. We're staying the way we are. But if we're not clicking in Game 4, I've got plans, and I'm going to talk to them about the plans. So he gave them a little bit of a heads up. Karlsson and Stone is something that he's wanted to try for a long time. They've played together a little bit, but Karlsson and Eichel, that was off the board. And he said to them, I'm not going to overload you guys. Whoever is first back
play center
is the center down low in the T zone. He goes, other than that, play hockey. Like, he's, I've got such respect for him. He has that knack to win. He really tries to, I'm not getting off. I can see the chat. The longer I can keep Stauffer up and make him grumpy.
I knew this was going to happen. Let me tell you
something. Him off his game.
You're going head to head with Bob Stauffer. Do you know that?
And me. And it's Gary and Murls versus me and Stauffer. Just a bunch of alphas going nose to nose. Gary, there are some former players of Bruce Cassidy, when you just called him a genius, flipping the fuck out right now.
Yeah.
And I respect your work for the team, and I respect he's a Stanley Cup champion, but we're using the genius word a little loose here.
Really?
Loose. Yeah.
He's made the playoffs 9 years in a row.
He's bringing the receipts.
He's a great hockey coach. Genius.
Wait, let him finish. Let him finish.
I'll tell you this, Whit. I'll go one farther. He's the best coach in hockey today.
Whoa!
You didn't even vote for him.
Suck
He's
on
the
that,
best
Whit.
coach in hockey today.
They are stroking this guy checks, mind you. They're stroking him checks.
I work for the team. That's fine. I'm good. Listen, Brian Engblom, a guy that I broke into broadcasting with from Winnipeg, played for the Canadians. He said to me one time, for 364 days of the year, I hated Scotty Bowman's guts. And on the 365th, he handed me my ring.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
My God. I don't know, man.
I need Stauffer in my life right now. I need Stauffer in my life. Gary, thank you so much. But I need Stauffer.
Any parting words for the fans out there, Golden Knights fans, and potentially Stauffer? Any quote you want to throw at him?
Yeah, Bruce Cassidy is legit Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting.
Come on, let's stir it up.
Everything is about Southie, Whit. Have you ever been to Southie?
No, I'd get beat up there. I'd get beat up there.
Whit can
Gary
go anywhere
Lawless
in Boston.
Putting Whit in a pretzel was not on my bingo card tonight.
G puts me on your Instagram and your Twitter account, and you just said if you ask 10,000 fans, they're gonna tell say Vegas. There are 10,000 Spittin Chiclets hockey fans right now calling me fat on social media. You should see. I don't swear when I come on your show.
You're thinner than Pat Maroon right now.
It's like this. So I've been called a thumb, and that one's pretty good. You know, it's,
you do kind of look like a thumb. I like that.
That one works. People have suggested that it's a wing eating contest between Stauf and I. That it's there should be a salad bar as part of the show tonight. Sumo wrestling has come up.
We're gonna get you guys a Biz 20 promo code for Sweet Greens.
They might eat you at the Moss Pit. You better stay away from there outside the arena. They might just grab you and just snack away till the finals.
Gary, can we get a friendly bet?
Canada for all my CFL work.
Do you guys drink the same alcohol? Maybe could we get a friendly bet between you and Stauf, like maybe a bottle of scotch or something? Like
I don't think Stauf drinks.
Stauf doesn't poison his body with that nonsense.
Okay. Oh, he's on the same regimen as McDavid. He's like doing the hyperbaric chamber and all the protein drink.
I need Stauf, guys. I need Stauf. I love Gary, and he's a listener and he's a friend. But get him off my screen right now, G. Get him off my screen. Stauf goes, "Are you kidding? When don't I drink?
When don't I drink?"
Okay, so we'll ask Stauf what the bet's gonna be, and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah,
but Gary, thank you so much for the breakdown. We love you, dude. You're a fan favorite. We'll get you back on if they advance. And Vegas, man, they got a wagon, but they're going against the two-headed monster of Leon
thumbs
Draisaitl.
up, Gary.
Hey, Jans. See you in the final, baby.
Yeah, baby. I'll see you out there.
Hey, see you, Gary. Okay, see you, Whit. Guys, before we continue, I need to talk to you about DraftKings. After the long grind of the regular season and now the first round, the playoff beards are coming in. The quest to hoist the Stanley Cup is heating up, and the action is even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The postseason for the fastest game on ice is here. If this is your first time experiencing and betting on playoff hockey, strap in for an epic playoff run. It's super easy to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the app, select your team, and place your first bet. It's that easy. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Chiclets. That's code Chiclets for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. What up, guys? It's Whit, and we want to talk about Aura Frames. Are you ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. We got one here. It's so easy to use, so simple, and it looks so good. I cannot say enough good things about Aura Frames and how easy it is to set up and how great it looks anywhere in your house. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and it's easy to see why. There's unlimited storage, like I said, so you can add as many photos, videos, and funny memes as you can find. And it is so simple to set up. Just plug in and share away. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Chiclets, and support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Right now, auraframes.com, promo code Chiclets. Aura Frames. For the mothers in your life, it's the best gift going for Mother's Day.
Did he give us prediction?
Yeah, he took Oilers.
Vegas in
Oh,
7.
did he? Oh, no.
Vegas in 7.
Okay.
Vegas in 7. All right, bring in Stauffer. Bring in Stauffer.
I hope Stauffer shit-faced.
First off, Stauffer, we apologize. The double overtime, a lot of stuff going on. It's 11:30 right now in Edmonton. We appreciate you staying up for the boys, man. Pump me up right now. Get us fired up for the Oil.
Yeah, how are the Oil going to win this series, Staff?
Well, first of all, what I want to know, Keith Yandel, I know for a fact when you signed in Philly that Dave Tippett reached out to you at some point during that summer, and there was a brief conversation, and you ended up going. Is that true? You ended up choosing Philadelphia over Edmonton?
You could have went to Edmonton, Keith?
No, I don't think Tip was still there, was he?
Yeah, he was for the start of the 21-22 season, right at the start. I thought there was a conversation. Him and Jim Playfair were looking at a veteran defenseman at that time. So you're saying that's not true. So my information source.
Stop.
No,
The last thing we
that's
need.
probably true. But I was gonna sign and play with Hazy. I wanted to play with Hazy, so I wouldn't have gone out west. It was too far from my family.
Hey, one Oilers jock sniffer is enough on this podcast. These guys would be unbearable if they both paid for the Oil and were repping you guys.
Yeah, because you're so reasonable with the Leafs, dude. You've turned into a complete lunatic. I want to talk to Stauffer.
Hey, just for the record, the Kings were not a fraud. All right, they were not a fraud. There's certain stats I use. Goal differential is one of the stats. They were a legit team. Sometimes things happen when you're talking a 6 or 7 game series, which I've had this conversation with Gary about what happened back 2 years ago against Vegas. The Oilers outshot Vegas 40-22 in game 6. They lost that game. They were playing a hybrid defense. We've talked about my passion for zone defense in hockey. The Oilers got absolutely murdered by Eichel and Marchessault on some long cycles and got, taken to the cleaners and lost game 6 at home. It was close. You lose a 6 or 7 game series, usually it's a sign that was pretty close, and it's a bounce here and bounce there. LA had tremendous opportunities to at minimum have been 3-1 after 2. They blew 2 chances to do it. The Oilers played one great game. That was game 5 in the series. And Edmonton's a team now that's got more experience come playoff time, right? They're just a different team than they were. Remember when they lost to Winnipeg? Connor Hellebuck, the last great playoff goaltending performance he had was back in 2021.
He was incredible that series.
Yeah, he had a 950 save percentage. Like Mike Smith was at 912 and the Oilers lost the series. The Oilers last year beat Vancouver with an 866 save percentage. And this year they beat the Kings with an 866 save percentage. There's no way they beat the Vegas Golden Knights at 866. So they're going to need to play some better team defense. They're going to need to have some stops. And it would not surprise me if we end up seeing both goaltenders. I'm just being pragmatic. And Skinner got a lot of the work last year. Pickard's obviously well liked by his teammates. You can see Connor's response after the Draisaitl game winner in game 4. So this is going to be a tough series. Vegas got a hell of a team. They got a great organization. I do think they won in the margins 2 years ago. And I think the Oilers have closed some of those margins, the gap a bit.
And part of those margins is Evander Kane. And you saw the impact he had in that series 2 years ago against Vegas. He's blowing kisses to people in the crowd. But we have all seen on the pod and the people watching the Oilers. So for you, in that tight group with the team, how often you're around, talk about Frederick's health, talk about Kane's health, talk about these guys who looked way different than the beginning of the series by the end of it.
Well, first of all, Ryan, we never knew what the Oilers had this year. We didn't because Kane missed the entire season. McDavid and Draisaitl in the last 14 games, and not one of those games did both of those guys play. Now the team went 8-5-1. Leon, the Oilers were 7-2 in games that Leon played with McDavid out. McDavid missed 15 games, and Leon had 16 points in those 9 games. So, and then the final 4 games that Connor played without Draisaitl, they won those 4 games, including beating the Jets in Winnipeg in a game in which both teams had about 5 guys out. So lots of other guys got opportunities. And case in point, in round 1, Edmonton had 9 different players with 2 or more goals. 11 of their 12 forwards scored. The team, I think you could make a compelling argument. They lost a little bit of speed. That's a given. In the offseason, the McLeod trade. Savoy's going to be a good player next year. He'll be on the team, but they lost the third line center that could play 17 minutes a game that could kill penalties. Fogle, little bit inconsistent at times, but it's hard to score 20 even strength goals, and he's done it 2 years in a row, and he went plus 36. He's a legit middle 6 forward. Holloway was coming. I love the guy. That one stung. So they have a very different forward look now than they did during the year, and even in game 1 and game 2, because you saw Frederick and you saw Kane. Kane's an amazing athlete. He is. Say what you want. You can have whatever opinion you want of him. The guy's a great athlete, and it speaks volumes that he can come back and play at the level, and he does give them something they don't have an abundance of. Like Connor and Leon are treated with respect around the league, almost a degree of reverence for being as good as they are. But the Oilers didn't have a lot of bite. And now when you have, Kane coming in, playing in the middle 6 role, and Frederick playing, third line, just gives a different dimension. You guys mentioned Hyman a little bit earlier. He had 43 hits in round 1. Like everyone has to hit and block shots come playoff time. Henrique had over 20 hits. Like that's the guy, he's 35. It's not his game in the regular season. So the Oilers had the fewest hits in the league in the regular season. They were the 4th most through the first round of playoffs. So they changed their dynamic a bit, and there's the impact of those 2 guys.
Stuff. It's long been discussed. Like, can they win with Leon and Connor playing together? What is your opinion on that? Do they start the series? I mean, Perry on that wing looks so good, and with Kane playing that well, you don't mind Nuge and Hyman with Kane and them being together. But what's your opinion on that? And can they win the series with that top line staying intact?
I think just like Ryan, you'll see the goalies maybe both get into a series. I think you're going to see times when Leon's centering his own line and times when he's high. I think it's just that's just the inevitability of the situation. Yeah. Part of it depends on what Vegas does. Like, do they keep the Carlson line together with Eichel and Stone? It's that to me could be an interesting. And I do think Cassidy, the record speaks for itself. The guy's a good coach. This is a different coaching matchup. Knobloch is a very humble coach. Okay. And really
he's not a genius.
He'd be the last.
This is great.
I've known the guy I did his games too. In fact, the night he scored 5 goals for the Golden Bears, I asked my wife to get married that night on the radio, broadcasting the game. So I've had a long history.
I thought your wife asked you to marry her.
No. She's been a glutton for punishment ever since. Trust me. So much so that she lives in West Vancouver now. She doesn't even live in Edmonton. So,
are you still together?
Yes. Yeah.
You just live apart?
She's like, I can't be around him during hockey season. He's coming home talking about goals for, goals against, goals average.
Actually, my mother worked for the Oilers for 25 years, so she's got more Stanley Cup photos in the backyard than I do. I have none. But no, like, they're just, to answer your question, those guys are so good. Like, I'm in year 17, Ryan, and, when you're on the team, there was some tough miles. To say the least, we
were walking no shoes, no socks through the wilderness,
and then and then you got hurt, and I've got a couple things that I've always applied because I wasn't a good enough player. I lacked the speed, talent, agility, coordination, toughness, character, and discipline to have played in the Western Hockey League, let alone the NHL. But as a broadcaster, my rules are simple: never forget about a player when he's hurt. That's when he's most vulnerable. see how he's doing, but never ask him when he's coming back. That's right. And number two is when a guy leaves, never disrespect the player when he leaves. Like, still follow up and see how he's doing. You know, like, it was hard with Fogle, like and with McLeod. Like, those guys were kind of a little bit part of their group. But for the last 10 years, I've watched the most dynamic, advanced player that we've ever seen in the history of this game.
It's a joy to watch him.
I got 20 years on all you guys. So close to 20 years on all you guys. So I got, I watched Wade Gretzky and Yari. I was a teenager playing AA hockey with Guy Godowski, the head coach at Penn State. It was my center, and we'd go to practice and watch Messi and Lowe absolutely kick the crap out of each other in one-on-one, two-on-two drills and go, is this what it's going to take? Because we don't have it to do it, right? But what Connor can, like, Connor's the most advanced player that's ever played. He's generally regarded the best player in the league, but this year, the best player in the league was Draisaitl. He's the best player. The hardest thing to do in hockey is score. Sorry, it is. And he's the only guy that got 50, and he did it in 71 games. So those two do give the Oilers a puncher's chance. But what Knobloch has done over the last year and a half is he's empowered more of the players. He uses very specific guys to kill penalties. He only put McDavid and Hyman back on the PK in the last series because Kapanen killed all year and got bounced out of the lineup once Kane and Frederick came in. And LA played 5 forwards on the power play. So they wanted to throw a wrinkle for them to think about. And as this series wore on, it negated a bit of the Kings' efficiency with the extra man, just having the option of McDavid and Hyman together.
Yep.
You touched on Connor and just how dynamic he is, the most you've seen in the last, ever, really. Have you ever seen more of a roller coaster ride of a player than Evan Bouchard? And also, aside from him, I don't think Darnell looked too great in that first round series against LA. That goal late in the series probably helped his confidence. But who has to step up from that back end outside of Evan Bouchard? And then obviously touch on what he's brought to their team.
Well, Ekholm's a massive loss. He is. He's their best all-around defenseman. He's Bouchard's partner, 5v5. They've been a top 3 expected goals for paired in the league since they got put together when he came over in the trade in 23. So, and then he's their number 1 penalty killing left shot defenseman, and he plays with Emerson. So it's 2 different slots that he affects things. It's also in their second unit power play. And he's got inherent leadership skills. There's an old saying in the West, right? In Western Canada, you never go wrong with a guy that comes from a place that starts with the letter S. Sweden and Saskatchewan. They're usually really good guys. Boston guys, what are they called? They're called massholes, right? Yeah. But conversely, nobody ever says anything bad about guys from Saskatchewan. Think of you 3 guys all played. How many bad guys did you actually ever meet?
Never met a bad guy from Sask or Sweden.
There you go. So
no, legit.
What's that?
It's legit. Sorry. It's very true.
Yeah. Even Finland, even throw Finland in there too.
Yeah. I admire certain aspects of their off-ice recreational habits. I share one of them with some of the Finns as well. So, but no, they're going to miss that home. Bouchard, see, I like defensemen that can make plays and move the puck. And I don't always freak out about, the more you have it, it's probably a higher probability that you're going to occasionally turn it over. And I don't think you have to sit there. Like, Ryan, you went through some tough times at Edmonton, and people forgot the severity of the injury that you had. You were never quite the same when you tried to play through it coming back. But the fact is, you had a run early during your tenure where you were, an exceptional puck moving defenseman for the team because you were smart enough to get the puck up to the ice to the young skilled guys that the Oilers had at that time.
But Bob, the thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is what I dealt with a lot, and I'm not nearly the level player Evan Bouchard is, but it's the way it looks when he turns it over, because there's a faction of the fan base that he doesn't care, and it's just the way he plays. He's very relaxed. He has crazy poise with the puck, so when you turn it over, it's like bear the fuck down, but. That's how he scores big goals, and that's how he creates passing lanes on the power play. So it's like living with the positive and the negative. It's just the way it looks. Do you know what I mean by that?
100%. So Keith, you played for Tip and for Playfair, okay? And we had Bouchard here during the 2021 bubble, or that was the Scotiabank. That was after the sort of bubble playoff.
Tip must have hated that.
Oh, so we would do these Zoom calls, and Bouchard was represented by Jeff Jackson, who was Connor's agent, and I'd be like on the Zoom calls with Tip saying, seriously, man, like I like Ethan Bear and Caleb Jones as players, but Bouchard has a way higher ceiling. You have to live with the mistakes. Like in the current NHL, in a salary cap world, you have to have performance from entry-level players. They're not finished products. And so I'd have these ongoing discussions, and Brian Lott would jump in them as well once in a while. And, because he was buddies with Tip and played with him back in the day. And I'm just like, you just got to ride it out. Ryan, he's a bit like Larry Murphy, who got booed right out of Toronto, then won two more Stanley Cups with Detroit. Like it doesn't look like he's got a quick twitch with the puck, right? And it, like last year when he got put in a headlock there by Ekblad in the playoffs, I wanted him to stick him. Like George Larocque ran me over one time, invited me out skating with the boys, crushed me, said it was the second hardest hit he ever threw. And I got up and speared him right in the junk, right? Like, I'm not taking that crap from him. I don't care that he's the heavyweight champ of the league. Like, you wish Bouch at times would show a little bit more fire, but that calmness under fire.
It's what makes him great. You got to take the good with the bad.
And, Paul, he was, until 2 games ago, he was the second highest scoring defenseman in NHL playoff history.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do when you're not playing in the live puck era.
I think through 2 games this series, half the fan base were ready to trade him off after the Kings.
You heard him. You guys were interviewing him, Biz. You were interviewing Leon, and he was talking about Bouchard, just his IQ and what he brings to the team. And because he's a skilled guy, he wants the puck. He knows Evan Bouchard's going to get him the puck more than, some guy's going to go up the glass and bang some guys in the corner and get the crowd into the game a little bit. But I think 1,000,000% what you guys are saying about his demeanor, the way that he looks on the ice, obviously might not look as good as it maybe should, but what he's bringing to that team and in that locker room and scoring big goals and having the poise, he's running. I mean, at the end of the day, he's the quarterback of that power play. You got to win games, especially in playoffs, on the power play. He's facilitating it to these high-end guys. But, I think he gets a little bit, too much of the whipping boy stuff. It kind of goes back to a little bit of the Morgan Riley. He got that too when, he was the main guy on the power play. But it's just, I always feel bad for those guys, probably because I was one of them, but I never really was in that market where, you're getting it too much from the fans or, so I think for him is just playing the way that he can, bringing his calmness to that group. Cause look at the way the fans react. You lose a game, they want everyone gone. He brings a calmness to that group, and especially the other D too. Like, it's like, hey, I can go back, make a nice little play to the middle, give it to these guys. So I think he shouldn't do anything differently, play the way that he does, bring the Bouch bomb. And, I enjoy watching him. A guy that can make a play like that, Whit, can play on my team any day.
Before Whit asked the last question, I was just going to go back to the fact that Ekholm's out. You talked about how much they miss him in so many different aspects. Which D-men has to step up in this series in order to fill that void, or maybe they do it collectively? And second, what scares you the most about this Vegas Golden Knights team facing off them in the second round?
Well, I think, Paul, one of the things that happened was LA's way of playing worked to John Klingberg's advantage coming back, because, Klingberg was better in the playoffs than he was in the regular season when he played.
By a long
he
shot.
looked awesome.
He was great,
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I can remember there was a time where I thought John Klingberg walked the line better than any defenseman in the league.
Shakira.
Right? Like it was unreal what he could do, right? So the combination, like Wallman did not finish the year healthy. He was banged up, and he's gotten through some challenges right now, playing about 20 minutes a game, and so is Klingberg. So they're kind of offsetting it a bit. Kulak's the one guy that's seen significantly accelerated minute. He can skate, and he plays. He can skate. Like, he's playing 24 minutes a game. Nurse has, the puck does the work. The best guys know that, right? And Darnell's Darnell is awesome, a great athlete. He can skate. And I think that sometimes less is more when he's really at the top of his game. That's the one thing you notice with Darnell. So Bouchard's going to play his 25 minutes. Paul Coffey's probably going to have, I mean, I joked with Coffey after game 2. I said, you might be our 4th or 5th best option right now, but you're 64. Like, I don't know, like it's just because but he wants to breed confidence in his players. Like, he's not and first, I don't believe in any of that BS about breaking guys down and building them up. Coaches like that, they need to get out of coaching. Like, just that doesn't work for today's athlete. The positive, the negative reinforcement should be about 4 positives for 1 negative. And that, to me, that's how you get the most. I mean, Paul, you're out in Victoria, right? You got
I spent my summers out in Vancouver, Victoria.
They got 2 kids that won the U18 for Canada. They got a kid named Cole Reshney from Macklin, just outside of Lloyd. He's worked his way up in the middle of the first round this year. And then they got a D coming next year, 16-year-old. His name's Keaton Verhoff. He's the best defenseman.
Stauffer's been texting me about this kid.
This guy is the best defenseman out of the West in the last 25 years. He's
the kid who's going to go first overall?
He's going to push. That's McKenna. He's going to push McKenna. There's WHL GMs that think he'll be a better NHL player than McKenna. He's having an unreal offense.
I've been hearing about this kid.
6'4" righty. He was the first D-man in 40 years to score 20 goals as a 16-year-old at WHL.
Another Dion Phaneuf.
Did not play on James Patrick's first unit power play. He was on the second unit, played first unit PK, played shutdown, went to the U18s. Canada bombed everybody. He set up the game winner in the one game that was close in overtime. Played 25 minutes a game as
Stauffer. We are getting a little bit off the rails.
I'm just saying, you're in Victoria. Yeah. I wanted to put a shout out for those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
All right, Biz, hold on.
But you didn't answer the question. What scares you the most about this Vegas Golden Knights team?
That's like when you took the media course when you guys played, and they'd say, "Well, have the media ask the question again." That's what I was doing there. It isn't just one thing that scares me, but like I really respect Vegas's organization. Like when one of my friends bought a WHL team, he said, "Any advice for me, Staff?" I said, "No trades with Brandon. Kelly McCrimmon's going to destroy it."
He's a savage.
He's a top flight operator. Obviously, everybody knows he was in the mix for the Edmonton job, and Vegas promoted him from assistant GM. They're a well-run team. I do think they won in the margins 2 years ago against the Oilers. It was that tight. They got arguably the best goalie coach in the NHL, which all of their guys seem to get better with Sean Burke. He's resuscitated multiple NHL careers.
Tons.
Like Keith, I think you played with a couple guys.
He's the goalie whisperer. I've seen him work his magic on Brizgalov, Mike Smith, Devin Dubnyk.
There you go.
The list goes on and on and on and on.
And Aiden Hill, Laurent Brossoit started the series 2 years ago as the number 1 goalie. And then Hill came in there. Vegas is completely different than LA. They're much more aggressive on the forecheck. That's why when you talk about Klingberg, against LA, where they're not selling out on the forecheck, well, now they're going to face a team that does. So Vegas has got strength down the middle at center. They've got big, heavy, tough defense. They play zone D better than any team in the league, I think. Okay. They do have a head coach with championship pedigree. I think the Oilers have got a rising star. I think they got a guy in a couple of years from now that might be seen, as one of the
and
top
also help from Koff, which is like,
because it's a different guy, like a different type of guy too, right? And they got the Oilers have a former NHL head coach on their staff with Gullitson that runs their power play, so they got a good coaching staff. But Gary alluded to the respect that the two teams have. Vegas won the series and then went on and won the cup. They got what Edmonton wanted. So there's nobody looking down their nose at Vegas and thinking, hey, we could just show up here and it's just going to happen. The Oilers are going to have to play far more efficiently and effectively, manage the puck better, and hopefully at least get a saw from penalty calls. Like the Oilers had a 60% expected goals for against LA, 5-on-5 in that series, and the Kings had 50% more power plays. That was a strange combination, because and Vegas got a great power play all year, top 3 power play. Paul, they're good. They got a real good team. Like this is going to, I think it's a 6 or 7 game series, and I think it's a toss up.
I fucking love when it's only 8 teams left because we get to get so much more in the weeds about the matchup and dive into the intricacies of the game. Ooh, want a word by me? It's 2 a.m. and I'm buzzing.
You're not up. Last question presented by Roback. Use code Chiclets on roback.com for a generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of this week. That's CHICLETS on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all hoodies, joggers, and more with code Chiclets. Staff, we have seen these two men, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, do things that only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux have done in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're literally mentioned with two of the greatest to ever do it. And you just said it's a 6 or 7 game series. I think it goes 7. If Edmonton could ever win in 6, it'd be amazing. How many points do those two have combined at the end of this series if they win? I think it has to be a minimum of 20.
I think he's frozen.
He's thinking about the 16-year-old player in
Carry
Minnesota.
the two.
I'm thinking they might need 12 each. I'm thinking they're going to need 24. I remember I saw Daryl Sutter about a year after the Oilers beat him in the playoffs. He said that Gretzky won the series, or Gretzky. He said, we got beat by one player. We got beat by McDavid. I'm like, Draisaitl had 17 points against you in 5 games on a broken home. Like there was, Hyman scored at every game of the series. Like I know Connor's really good. He scored the game winner, but even Connor would be sitting there saying, hey, 29 had every game. He had at least 3 points in the series.
On a sprained ankle, too.
Yeah, he was hurt.
God.
We've had two of the best representing their teams, and you and Gary Lawless. Could we have a friendly wager between you two? He said that you don't drink. That was obviously a lie. Maybe a bottle of bourbon or like, what do you guys drink?
I'll get him some Wilhock beef jerky. How's that?
He'll kill the animal first, too. This guy's a sicko.
It is funny that you have Gary and myself, because when Gary said people said he looked like a thumb. Yeah, and when my hair is a little bit longer, I look like Big Pussy from The Sopranos. So we got
you do.
That, there we go. I'm not. You can tell which 3 guys here were the ex-players. That's all I'm.
I played like them.
So what is your prediction for the series games?
6 or 7
for Oilers.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm hoping the Oilers win, but it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. I'd be stunned if it was less.
I know,
than
but
that.
you have to pick one.
He's picking the oil biz.
Well, I'll pick the Oilers in 7, Paul.
No, a fucking number, Whit. 6 or 7. You can't just say 6 or 7.
I'll say Edmonton in 7.
All right.
And I'll say this: the games in Vegas will be low event games, and the games in Edmonton will be higher event games. So just file that one away. It's the way it worked. It has a bit to me as to what happens with the crowd in the barn. So I think that you'll see a little bit more frenetic pace at Rogers Place, and they'll control things a little bit differently in their own barn.
Stauf, I want to say thanks for coming on, and we love and respect your passion for the game, man. I cannot wait to watch this series, and it's going to be a hell of a rip. So thank you for joining us, especially with how late it is, but we got a lot of amazing hockey to still go here.
Anytime you guys are stuck and can't get somebody better out of Edmonton, give me a call.
No, Stauf, you're our
You're
guy.
our guy.
You're our alpha. See you later, buddy. Guys, I want to talk about SPORTCLIPS. SPORTCLIPS isn't just where you get a haircut. It's your playbook for looking fresh. And you walk in, you catch the game, and you sit back while the pros in men's hair handle the rest. And when you're done, walking out feeling like you're ready to take on anything. Job interview, first date, doesn't matter. SPORTCLIPS hooks it up, and you'll be looking good. No hassle, no surprises, just a solid cut every time. It's simple, it's easy, and it's made for guys who want to feel like they've got the home field advantage. And if you want to track your real-time wait times, download the app and check in online. SPORTCLIPS, the haircut experience, dialed in for guys. It's a game changer.
Wow, what a treat for us, man. Gary Lawless and Stauf.
I love the beef they got going, too.
Oh, yeah.
2 guys that are just a blast to sit there and have a drink with, right? You can get those guys going on anything, all the stories.
Do any guys slurp their team harder than those guys?
I think Lawless way more than Stauf. By the way, only Stauf could be asked about just a dream matchup of McDavid versus the Vegas Golden Knights and go on a rant about 2 kids from Lloydminster, Saskatchewan who
with
just
Biz
lit
Summers.
It's BC, you idiot.
He's been texting me about that defenseman though, like since November. He's like,
oh yeah.
He's like, you watch this motherfucker.
I thought he was going to say that kid's going to be playing game 2. I didn't know why he was going.
No, I think he thinks he's going to.
Biz goes, you're getting off the rails here.
Yeah. Boys,
what do you got, Biz? Final prediction for the series.
I am a mush, and I don't want to blow it for the oil. I think I got Vegas in 7 here. I think it's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be an incredible series. We are so blessed that we have McDavid and, of course, Leon, but more so McDavid and Eichel going against each other, the 1 and 2 overall picks. I feel like McDavid he's itching for that cup, right? He's there, but Eichel's going to be there to try to prevent it. So I'm going to have to go with Vegas because of the depth.
All right.
For me, it's, and I know it's been said a million times, and it's going to be said a million more times, it's the goaltending, Whit. It scares the living shit out of me because it's the only team in the world that has arguably the 2 best players, and you still question them a little bit, right? And you're not questioning them, you're questioning the goaltender. And both you and Stauffer saying that you're going to see both goalies in this series scares me even more. I'm going Vegas in 6. Sorry to do it, Whitty.
No, I don't take that as a disrespectful thing. I think that what I said to Gary is true. I think most people think Vegas gets it done, and that being the biggest reason. I think the Oilers win in 7. I know it's because it seems crazy to me. So maybe I truly don't believe it, but I think the payback aspect's there. I think McDavid's on a mission, and I just think after what they did in Game 5 in LA, like something clicked. And when you got these 2 guys, this is the one team that could shut them down. I actually think that if they win this series, they're winning the cup. I was more like, I don't know, if they ended up matching up with Colorado in the conference final, if they somehow got there, they're so fast. But they beat Dallas last year, a different team, obviously, with Rantanen, but I think it's going to be an incredible series, and I think it's going 7, and I think the Oilers get the win on the road and pay him back for 2 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. I also believe that if Vegas somehow whooped them in 5, it wouldn't be like the most shocking thing. I know I'm all over the map, but I think Vegas is that good, and the goaltending aspect is petrifying. So we'll leave it at that.
Hold on, I got one question for you, Whit. If it does go to a Game 7, like the goaltending, or you just think having Connor and Leon just put you way over the edge?
I would just play 6 on 5.
I know. Like the goaltending doesn't scare you in that situation, a Game 7?
I think Game 7s are such coin flips. Like you've seen Patrick Waugh give up 7 goals in a Game 7 to Detroit. I don't remember the year. No, I almost think that if goaltending loses in the series, that's how Vegas will beat him in 5. You know, I think you get to 7, it's just like anything can happen, right? Connor can go off. We'll see. But we got one more series to talk about, and this man just chugged a bottle of water, showed out body armor based on the fact that he knows he's going back into sicko mode, and he's going back into the depths of hell, and he's going back in against the biggest bunch of bullies the schoolyard's ever seen. Toronto, Florida, another rematch of 2 years ago. The one other time Toronto got out of the first round in what seems like a lifetime, they were whooped up in the second round by the Cats. You two are going head-to-head. I can't wait to see it. Biz, how do you win this series?
Fucking, they are going against Goliath. And I know I have
We're in a similar spot, dude.
I agree. And I've had a lot of Leafs delusion throughout my past. But this will be the most difficult series this group has ever seen. I actually think that this Florida team is better than the last time they met them. I think they're deeper. The Marchand pickup speaks for itself, especially the way that he's been playing. They are going to not have the ability to take any shifts off. I mean, there can't be these 5-6 minute stretches where they just fucking go brain dead like they did against the Ottawa Senators. We are going to have to get the best that we've ever seen from Stolarz. Every defenseman to a man is going to have to not only chip in offensively, but win all of their net front battles and play through punishment that they've never seen before. Because the forecheck of the Florida Panthers is lethal, and they're hitting to hurt you. They're going to give you stinky mitts after every frozen puck from Stolarz. They can't get invested in the bullshit. That is not Toronto Maple Leaf hockey. We can't pretend like we're the big bad Maple Leafs like the Florida Panthers. They have to keep cool, calm, and collected. And hopefully off of that stupidity and aggression that sometimes you see from Florida, take power plays and execute on them. And we all know this is not the Ottawa Senators stagnant PK. This is a PK that comes at you relentlessly. And the minute that the one guy forces you, the next guy is going. You have no time to make plays. And they're going to have to make them quick. They're going to have to execute at an unreal clip rate on the power play as well as penalty kill, because we know Florida Panthers have a lethal power play. So special teams have to be through the roof. And then 5-on-5, not only the big guys, but the depth. Bobby McMahon, no goals in the last 17 games. No. Throw that out the window. We're going to need him at least chipping in 2 or 3. We're going to need Patches going exactly the way that he was in game 6. If Robertson gets thrown in, we need offensive production from him. The Holmbergs, the list goes on. The Max Domies.
Reeves.
The core 5. Shut the fuck up. The core 5 has to go complete sicko mode in this series. Nye's net front presence every fucking game, aggravating Bob, getting in his eyes. Matthews has to be shooting the pill like we've never seen before. Even even better than we saw in his 69 giggity goal season. Marner, as much as he makes plays, he has to find the back of the net too. He has to score some big goals for us. I know he's the setup guy. He's got to start. He's got to get in mucking and grinding just as much as the next guy. Willie Stiles, no shifts off. He can't go brain dead. He's got to be playing full 60s as well. And JT, he just needs to play exactly like he has in the first round and in series before this. Like, he is consistent as consistent comes. We're going to need everybody. We're going against Goliath. But I believe that my Leafs, along with all these omens that Hockey Illuminati's brought, it's our year. It's our year. I'm going to believe, and I got the Leafs taking them to 7 and beating them at home and rectifying the demons.
That was a hell of a rant. It was a very matter of fact, stay on topic way to beat the Panthers. And I respect the hell out of you for that.
Thank you.
I think you're getting smoked. I'm not being a hater. I just look at this team like they added Marchand, and he's playing with Lundell and Luosterainen, and it's like, fuck me, dude. You look at the top 2 lines, he's not even on it. So you're throwing out that third line against what? Domi? Like, that could be an enormous thing. I'll say this about the series, and it sounds crazy saying it about the second round because it's not the Cup final. It's a life-changing series for Mitch Marner. And if he goes on to light up this entire second round, no matter what happens in the conference final, Leafs fans will be saying, give him whatever he wants. If they get through this round and Mitch Marner is the best player for the Toronto Maple Leafs,
check.
It's a blank check. It changes his life. You look back and remember him in that second round, and maybe I'm totally off base if they got smoked in the third round, but they're not going to get smoked if they somehow get by because they can beat Washington or Carolina. So it's a Mitch Marner legacy series.
I think also for Matthews as well, going against Barkov in that matchup.
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy who commands $13 million a year. Like, this is his opportunity to show that he can go against another one of the best two-way centers in the league. And they should be fresher, man. Florida's played a lot of hockey. Like, they should be looking at this like a massive, massive opportunity. And the same thing goes for Nyes. There's rumbling that he wants to try to get an offer sheet. Well, fucking earn it. This is where you make your money, when the chips are on the table. And you got Pablo, you got Marner, and you got Nyes, and then Willie got paid too. This is the core 4 plus Nyes massive opportunity to show that they deserve every penny they want and that they've gotten. And they're going against the best, and in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And they got the coach who can bring them there. So fucking time to get it done, boys.
And it's a chance to shut up every person like me. And
agreed.
I think that that's something like when I say more people are picking Vegas over Edmonton, I don't know if there's one non-Leafs fan picking Toronto.
I love it.
And then we go over to the man, Yance. Why are you going to wax them, Yance? Why?
So the reason why is you hear Biz go on his rant is we need this guy to do this, what she's never done. We need this guy to be this. We need this guy to do this. Biz, you need all these guys to do something they have never done. All I need from the Florida Panthers is do what they have been doing. They know how to win hockey games. More importantly, they know how to win playoff hockey games. They are built for this. Sasha Barkov up for Selke. Sam Reinhart up for Selke. There's two guys who can shut down the core four. Then you got the back end bringing in a guy like Seth Jones. Oh, why would you bring in a guy like Seth Jones when you have Ekblad?
Because one of our defensemen got busted for steroid use.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that Florida just needs to play their game. Just play the way that they have the last 3 years. They are not worried about this series as much as you are. This is just another step in the direction that they want to get to. Thing that scares me for you, Biz, Carter Verhaeghe, little sleepy the first 3 or 4 games. He woke up. One of the most streaky players I've ever played with. He's going to come in hot. Every guy, a lot of guys in that team are from the Toronto area too. They're going to want to beat this team more than anybody else. They're going to bring the guys into the fight even more. Who's going to match up with Sam Bennett on your side? Don't see him.
Ryan fucking Reeves, buddy.
Yeah. Nyes has to play a little bit like Bennett to kind of get that offer sheet that you're talking about.
Have you seen the lefts that he throws? Did you watch the
who
White
did he
Cloud
dummy
fight?
this year? Who was
White
that?
Cloud. White Cloud. He
that was
handled his own
crazy.
business. You don't think Max Domi would fight a guy like Sam Bennett?
Yeah, I
He
don't know if
wouldn't
you
a
guys
heartbeat.
remember this. There's a little bad blood between Max Domi, Aaron Ekblad. Domi, when he was in Montreal, suckered Eki, broke his nose a couple of years ago. So there's a little more hatred than people kind of know in this series. So that'll be a fun one to watch. You won't see Eki in the first game because of an unfair suspension that he got. But yeah, I think just as a hockey fan going into this series, which starts tomorrow night or tonight as you're listening, is going to be so much fun to watch. Just the storylines, the players, where they're going to be signing next year. You hear rumblings, Bennett might be going to Toronto next year. Marner might be going somewhere else. So there are so many different storylines, but at the end of the day, as you like to call them, Biz, Goliath is going to come out on top. They got Sergei Bobrovsky playing against the guy that used to back him up. That is not a position you want to be in. You want to have a clear-cut number one guy that is going to bring you to the dance where you want to be. I don't think Stolarz is the guy to beat Florida. Yeah, he might know some of their tricks. He might know, what guys like to shoot, because he faced them all for 2 years.
Well, they got Lorentz and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, so there's probably a lot that they're helping provide the coaching staff with little tidbits and things that they might do in certain situations. So a little bit of an advantage there for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as having a bit of a winning pedigree around and those types of guys who can rub off on the Leafs to try to get this thing done and get over the hump. And you touched on it. They've been there and done that, and credit to them. But like I said too, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity. If the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't looking at this like an opportunity, then they're already broken and they're already dead. But they are, because Chiefs got them in the right mindset. And you're going to see a different Toronto Maple Leafs team. And this is going to go a lot farther than you guys think. And I believe that the Leafs will prevail. And I look forward to the opportunity with them. And I'm happy that the way that I handled myself on this Zoom call today.
Buddy, you're very...
It's a
series
different
hasn't
team.
started yet, though.
It's a different team. It's a different me. I still think that Ryan Reeves should play game one. I still think Craig Berube should challenge Paul Maurice to a scrap at center ice.
I do love your talk about the core five, as you call them now. This stat I didn't read out earlier. McDavid and Draisaitl have 245 points in 160 playoff games. Marner, Nylander, Matthews, and Tavares have 216 points in 252 games. Now, saying that.
Stats are for losers.
No. Like, you could say that, but I'm saying...
Wayne said it. I didn't say it.
I'm saying... They
Murls
could take over a series, as those two have done so many times. Like, It has to happen, right? And maybe this is the series where they all get 8 to 12 points, and it's like, holy fuck! Like at some point, you would think, based on the stats in the regular season, that it'll happen. I don't think it'll be this year, but as Keith said, the drama involved in this, and part of the drama is it's starting in Toronto. They got the job done. They got the division. Take advantage of it. And if you don't, this thing could be over in 5 again. So I can't wait. Biz, great breakdown. Keith,
And I will say, all joking aside, Ekblad, I think he got hosed on the whatever the supplement that got put in his drink, and he ended up getting the 20-gamer. I was just busting balls with Tkachuk. There were some people who were on Yand's side about the Tkachuk thing. They were on my side. Guys, I don't take it that seriously. If you're going to bring on a guy and surprise me, like, I'm not going to throw softballs. I don't give a fuck. If you want to judge me for it, judge me for it. At the end of the day, like, literally suck my cock. I don't care. I'm going to ask those questions every day of the week, twice on Sundays. We're here to fuck around and have a good time. I don't view it as this, like, I don't put these guys on the pedestal.
You weren't on TNT.
I'd still fucking ask that on TNT. I fuck around. I don't care.
I guess that's very true.
Yeah, like I don't
argue that.
I don't put people who play a sport on this pedestal. I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to sling it around, and that's why Spittin' Chiclets.
And that's why you're the best in the business, Biz.
And not even, I never said that. I'm just saying that
I did.
I ain't throwing Matty Tkachuk softballs. So I appreciate you getting them on. And this upcoming week, we will have some very special guests coming on. So tonight in studio, getting away from the Leafs Florida chatter before we give our predictions, unless everybody said the game amounts. Did you guys already give it?
I'm going Florida in 6.
Yans?
Florida in 5.
I got Leafs in 7. You don't do this when you're in studio. Charles Barkley said, I think this is going to overtime when it was 3-1 Blues over Winnipeg. And I said, don't you say that.
Bob McKenzie.
Well, what happens? Boom, boom. We're there another 3 hours after he said it. So he owes me one. So we'll be getting Chuck on the podcast at some point next week. And I'll even send out a text to 99 to try to get him on for his predictions, or at least some breakdowns of whatever's going on. So
I think Chuck had a Toronto-Edmonton finals in his prediction.
I think he's on the Leafs. So I would love to get his juju
that's why
going.
you're getting him on. No. Now we know.
But that's pretty much all I got.
All right.
I don't think there's anything else to talk about. This has gone pretty long, and
just one quick thing. Couple quick things. Frederik Andersen signed a 1-year contract extension. I don't know, worth mentioning that. See what goes on with his health. 2.75. The Flames signed Matt Coronado. That's a nice deal. $6.5 million per season to a 7-year deal. He looked really good this year. Young player that they drafted. So that's a nice pickup there. And for the first time in its 30-year history, the NHL Draft Lottery will be drawn live in studio, allowing team personnel and viewers to learn of the results simultaneously. You know that in prior years it's been delayed, and then there's all this discussion of what went on, and it's just kind of better that I think they're doing it the way they are for the first time ever. And I think that is that Monday night? Is that tonight, G?
Yeah, the 5th. Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. And Carberry, Arneal, and Martin St. Louis, finalists for the Jack Adams Award. You never really want to win that now, it seems like. Like, they're just gassed. Like the NFL.
Last 5 Jack Adams winners are not on the team that they won it with. It's not
award. Sweet award. What a
this
great
has
show.
been. Oh, go ahead. I was
just gonna say, awesome show. Thank you to Stauffer. Thank you to Lawless. And for me, it's right now 2:15 a.m. on Monday, May 5th. A year ago today, Cal Whitney was born. And
that's awesome.
It's just like being a dad is the best thing in the world, man. And you know, he had a liver biopsy 12 days after he was born. It was just the scariest time of my life. And all of a sudden, boom, it's a year later, and he's got the best older brother. So just very thankful for everything. And playoffs been great. I love working with you guys. This was a great show, and can't wait for the second round, boys.
And big thanks to G, Fish, Pasha, Dale Morningstar, a.k.a. Memes, like all the people behind the scenes for us who have put in all the work, especially the fact that we're going not only with game notes, but 2 pods a week. So 3 times a week, really. New guy, Nick. We got a new guy in the mix as well. I'm sure you guys will be hearing stories about him when we get on the road with him in the finals. Bring him in the mix. But and of course the fans, man, like you guys have responded so well, whether it's the live streams, the live podcasts, which I'm sure we'll have a few more of those, support and game notes in the chat. So we love you guys. An incredible first round. Agreed with Whit. Probably the best that I've ever seen and the best the NHL has ever had. So it just ended and we're off to an incredible second round that has even better matchups. We got McJesus and Eichel. We got the Leafs in the former champs. We got Ovi going against the Canes. Nobody believes in the Canes. And, of course, that juggernaut of a Central Division in Dallas and Winnipeg going at it. So it's going to be awesome. We love you guys. And, yeah. Oh, last thing. You can now get the Greensboro Gargoyles hat on the merch website for Spittin Chiclets. They'll be coming to the ECHL next season. And I think I've pretty much covered it all. Yans?
Yeah, I got
no
one
more
thing.
tummy sticks?
I just wanted to let all the Toronto Maple Leafs fans, this isn't about them. All the Maple Leafs players, I love a lot of those guys. Coach Berube, great guy. A lot of guys in the management I really respect there. This is about beating you, Biz. I am gonna fucking hate your guts for the next 5 games.
And I gotta go against Murls.
I'm gonna be
this
tweeting.
is gonna turn disgusting.
I'm going to make star maps of every Florida Panthers player to give out to the fans, and I'm going to tweet it out, including your address. I'm going to have them fucking up to the wee hours of the morning, answering fucking fire alarms. You wait till you see the show that I put on for these Florida Panthers, including the Rat King himself, Brad Marchand.
I'm going to have everyone from Dublin come over to Houston and punch your eyes shut.
Hey, you listening, Brad Marchand? It's time I get my revenge on you.
Cut it. I don't want to see this guy
get
anymore.
my revenge on you.
Get him out of here.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you Wednesday game notes.
Coming for you,
Friday, Spittin Chiclets live. Peace.
You're done.